right?
All right, Amira is here today, and she is going to tell us about the wonderful lesson she has prepared this time.
Well, thank you, Marco. Well, today we have a very interesting lesson prepared for you. It's about someone cutting in line.
Cutting in line, okay.
Yeah, it happens all the time, and we all get very upset about it, but, it happens.
Right. Well, I imagine that everyone is wondering what cutting in line is. Why don't we just listen to the dialogue one time, and then when we come back, Amira and I will gladly explain all the vocabulary in this dialogue.
Let's listen.
I can't believe it took us 2 hours to get here. The traffic in New York is unbelievable.
Yeah, but just relax, honey. We're here and we're going on vacation. In a few hours, we'll be in Hawaii and you'll be on the golf course.
Oh no, look at that line. It must be a mile long. There's no way I'm waiting for another 2 hours.
Honey, don't.
Hey, man, the end of the line is over there.
Yeah.
No, seriously, I was here first, and you can't cut in line like this.
Says who?
I do.
So sue me.
All right, that's it.
Whoa, I think there's punching.
Yeah, I guess this guy he's just a crazy, impatient man, huh?
Yes, but we don't want to talk about this now. But for now, we will treat some of the vocabulary and very useful phrases in the dialogue.
Great.
So, Marco, do you want to start?
Yes, let's take a look at our first word would be unbelievable.
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 Exactly, and just how you say it, it's something incredible, something amazing.
Yeah, but I would like to point out that unbelievable was used here to describe the man's frustration. He's not happy about the traffic in New York.
Exactly, perfect. Okay, in the next part, the woman, she's trying to calm and relax her husband, and she says that they'll be in Hawaii in a few hours, and you'll be on the golf course.
Right, so we'll be in Hawaii and you'll be on the golf course.
Yes, we'll be in Hawaii and you'll be on the golf course.
So this is a great way of talking about your physical location in the future.
Right. So for example, Amira, tomorrow where will you be?
Don't worry, Marco. I'll be in the office tomorrow.
Perfect, right? That's where I need you to be.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Well, I have another interesting phrase here for you. Must be a mile long.
A mile long.
A mile long.
A mile long.
Now, that's basically not a mile. It's not a kilometer long, but it's another way of saying that this line is really, really long.
Right, it's just an exaggeration. Now let's take a look at there's no way.
There's no way.
There's no way.
There's no way.
Perfect. Let's listen to some other examples on how we use there's no way in a different situation, and then we can come back and talk about it a little bit more.
There's no way I can have those reports finished today.
The stadium is so crowded that there's no way we'll find a seat.
Do you think Michael's gonna buy that house?
There's no way he has enough money to buy it.
All right, everyone. So there's no way is another way of saying it is impossible.
Exactly. There's no way you should miss this podcast, right?
Yes. Well, I have another phrase for you as well. Cut in line.
Cut in line.
Cut in line.
Cut in line.
Cut in line
So again, we have some really good examples on how you could use this phrase in different situations. Let's listen to the examples and then we can come back and talk about it some more.
Excuse me, I'm really late. Can I cut in line, please?
I hate it when people cut in line at the bank. It's so rude.
I think it's okay when a pregnant woman cuts in line.
All right, everyone, cut in line.
Right, so from the examples, we can understand that it means when you are standing in line somewhere and somebody gets in front of you.
Right. I have another phrase for you here. Sue me.
Sue me.
Sue me.
Sue me.
Okay, now sue me is not a nice phrase. If you hear that, you know you're in trouble.
Yeah, it's kind of rude, I guess, to say sue me.
Right. Well, it actually means like taking someone to court and asking for money because someone has harmed you in a way. I think that we should listen to the dialogue one more time and try to figure out why he used that phrase and if he's really going to take him to court.
I can't believe it took us 2 hours to get here. The traffic in New York is unbelievable.
Yeah, but just relax, honey. We're here and we're going on vacation. In a few hours, we'll be in Hawaii and you'll be on the golf course.
Oh no, look at that line. It must be a mile long. There's no way I'm waiting for another 2 hours.
Honey, don't.
Hey, man, the end of the line is over there.
Yeah.
No, seriously, I was here first, and you can't cut in line like this.
Says who?
I do.
So sue me.
All right, that's it.
All right, we're back. Now, this guy, when he says sue me, he's just being rude. I mean, he's just being kind of
Impolite.
impolite and telling him, I don't care.
Right. Exactly.
Like you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Okay, today in the studio, we have a guest. Her name is Sarah, and she's from England.
Hi there.
Hello.
All right. So we're going to be asking her a couple of questions, and she'll be a frequent guest on our show, so you can expect to hear from her a lot.
Well, she didn't know that.
it's a surprise.
She knows now.
Well, Sarah, our topic today is about jumping the queue.
Okay, Amira, wait. What is this jump the queue?
It's the same as cut in line, but in British English.
Ah, okay.
Yes, queuing. It's very important in England. We're very proud of our queues. It's true.
So what would be the reaction of people if they cut in line?
I think we do take it very seriously. I'm laughing now, but it's quite serious. So you don't jump the queue. If people jump in front of you, it's you get a lot of tuts and sort of, shouldn't be doing that. And we make it very obvious. And
So you say it out loud.
We would perhaps say something. And we have systems. In London on the metro. On the underground, you have to stand on the escalators on the right and queue, and you can't jump in front. You have to walk on the left and queue on the right. And it's all very serious. There's rules and regulations.
Is there like a queue handbook that you have to read in high school and kind of take a test on?
Perhaps there should be, yeah.
Wow.
What about New York, Marco?
Well, no, definitely, I guess this dialogue is similar to a reality of New York. If somebody gets in front of you or cuts the line, somebody's going to say something and probably end up in a fight if the guy is rude. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, Sarah, why don't you tell us, is there a line or a queue for almost everything in England?
It seems like we do just like to form a queue. Yeah. So,
Can you think of like some other examples of where you would normally you wouldn't queue, but you do?
Oh, gosh. Things like in the supermarket when you're trying to find some vegetables or something, I'd never sort of reach round or anything. I'd sort of
really?
wait until that person had finished picking up their stuff and then go in. So just try and...
So if like 5 people want to buy oranges at the supermarket, then you have a little mini queue of 5
maybe
people
a little bit. Just,
waiting.
There's no sort of just shoving through it to the front. You just don't do that.
So you don't stick your hand out and grab like a tomato.
Well, if you do,
or-
again, you would make sure that person knows, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just in a hurry or whatever. But yeah, it's just letting someone go before you. It's a courtesy, I think.
Okay.
It's quite important to us.
All right.
Right.
Great
Well,
stuff.
thank you so much, Sarah.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, we'll have you back very soon. So, all right, we're out of time, but we'll be back tomorrow with another lesson. And be sure to visit our website. Don't forget that EnglishPod.com has many, many resources and also a community of users and teachers that can help you answer questions and interact with you.
Yes, and you should definitely leave your suggestions. But for now, I wish you all well and bye.
Bye.
For this week's podcast on English.com, we have the third in our series of Life Before the Internet. And for this week, we're talking about correspondence.
Yes, letters. Richard, can you remember, when was the last time you wrote a letter?
I can't remember exactly, but I think it must have been writing to my mum.
Right.
When we lived in Jordan, which was over 12 years ago. I used to write to her regularly.
Now, you had those special airmail letters.
Yes, it was just a piece of paper which was also the envelope, and it also included the stamp.
It was very lightweight, wasn't it?
It was very light. It was all in one. You just had to fold it up and pop it in the mailbox, and that was it.
I don't even know if they have those anymore.
I'd be surprised.
Now, you mentioned the fact that there was no stamp, or the stamp was included, wasn't it?
Yes.
Because that's a big difference, isn't it, nowadays?
Yeah, you don't buy stamps, do you? Even if you have anything to send, you just go to the post office. Because I remember as a small boy, I loved collecting stamps from everywhere. But no longer. So what about you then, Jackie?
Well, what I do remember doing is sending regularly postcards to my parents.
Oh, yes.
When we were on holiday, or of course just the different places that we were working in. Postcards.
Definitely. I think you can still buy postcards, can't you?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because postcards are still for sale. We see them. But I don't send postcards anymore because everything has changed. We use Facebook with an up-to-date regular account of what we're doing on our holiday.
Yes, exactly.
It's interesting because I don't write to my father at all anymore, letters or postcards. We communicate completely with video calls.
But you do send them a Christmas card, though.
Yes. Now, I do remember when I moved to live and work in Africa, which was for 5 years, I only wrote to my parents and a very few close friends, maybe 5 or 6 people.
So do you think then you lost contact with people then because correspondence was so time-consuming?
I think so, but I think it's because I only wrote to the people who were really important to me. So I think that nowadays I correspond with people more regularly.
Yes, it's much easier as well. And there's more people you correspond
but
with.
Also with people who in the past, perhaps they wouldn't be in my address book.
I'm in correspondence now, actually, with people I knew at primary school.
Right.
And I haven't seen them almost since then, 40 plus years ago.
So it's completely different, Richard, now, isn't it, from when we were at school, when we were younger? Do you think it's all for the better now?
Yes, definitely, I think so. Because we live fairly separate from a lot of our friends here, and it's so easy to keep in contact with everybody.
Yes, I think I agree, Richard. It's really nice, isn't it, being in touch with friends from the past and keeping in everyday contact with our families. But I do wonder whether the amount of time we spend on social media is probably more than the letter writing we did in the past.
Idioms and expressions. Pop it in the mailbox. Meaning, to quickly put something in the mailbox. Example, once I finished writing the letter, I just popped it in the mailbox and waited for a response. Lost contact. Meaning, to stop communicating with someone. Example, after moving to a new city, I lost contact with most of my old friends. Up to date. Meaning, to be current or updated with the latest information. Example, I like to keep my social media accounts up to date with everything I do on vacation. Time consuming. Meaning, something that takes a lot of time. Example, writing letters was so time consuming, it's no wonder people switched to emails. All in one. Meaning, refers to something that combines multiple functions or elements. Example, the airmail letter was great because it was an all-in-one solution, letter, envelope, and stamp. Welcome to English Daily Podcast. I'm Liv Morgan, and today we're exploring a fascinating topic, national identity in mainland Britain. Let me start by sharing a story. A few years ago, a friend from Scotland visited London, and when someone asked her nationality, she proudly said, "I'm Scottish." This sparked an interesting conversation because, in mainland Britain, national identity isn't always straightforward. That moment made me reflect on how different identities can be within the UK. In today's episode, we'll unpack this complexity. In the 2011 census, for the first time, people were given the choice to identify as English, Scottish, Welsh, British, or even a combination. The results were surprising and reveal how history, traditions, and symbols shape our sense of who we are. Let's dive in.
When you ask for someone's nationality, you'll more than likely get a very straightforward answer. They're either French or Australian or Brazilian.
But in mainland Britain, you can get a number of different answers.
So for this week's podcast on English.com, we're talking about national identity.
It's interesting. In 2011, for the census, for the very first time, people were asked about their national identity. And they had a choice. They could choose between English, Welsh, Scottish, Northern Irish, of course, British or other. And you can tick as many as you wanted.
So you could be British and Scottish at the same time.
Exactly. But what's quite interesting, Richard, was that in Scotland, for example, 62% of the people said they were only Scottish.
And not British.
They didn't tick the British box.
Right. Not surprising, really, I suppose, because Scotland is quite different from the rest of the UK, isn't it?
Can you explain that?
Well, they have a very strong national identity, don't they? You think of the bagpipes,
The music, yeah.
the clothing they wear.
Well, obviously the tartan, the kilt.
Exactly.
Fair Isle jumpers.
Haggis.
Their food, yes.
And of course they have a very different way of talking, a distinct dialect.
These may be stereotypes, but they do create a sense of community, I suppose.
So what about the Welsh then? What about them?
Fairly similar, actually, Richard. 57% of people in Wales only ticked the Welsh box.
And again, Wales is a very different place, isn't it? The Welsh language, of course. A lot of the Welsh people speak Welsh as a first language.
Yeah, it's estimated that 29% of the population of Wales, aged 3 and over,
are able to speak the language. That's amazing.
It is. And if you go to especially a rugby match in Wales, you'll hear all those people singing the Welsh national anthem in Welsh.
In Welsh.
Yes.
With passion and with pride.
Exactly.
And of course, they have that wonderful flag, the flag of Wales with the red dragon on it. And recently the footballers said, we're all extremely proud to wear the dragon on our chest.
So what about the English then? That's who we're left with.
Well, mainland Britain, yes. Interestingly, in England, 60% of people said only English.
Interesting.
I thought that was far higher. Far higher than I thought.
Because I remember a long time ago, you used to always see the Union Jack, the flag of Britain in England. But now you often see the George Cross, the Red Cross of England as the flag. So it is becoming more popular, I think, to be English. So Jackie, you're English then. So what do you put in the census?
I would absolutely put British only.
Why is that?
I love the difference between all the different cultures of Britain, and I prefer to identify with all of those. But I would say that the English do have a great sense of humour, a good sense of fairness, and actually a fantastic sense of
Before we get into the details, let's quickly talk about some key expressions we'll be using today. You'll hear idioms like a sense of belonging and extremely proud, which describe powerful emotions tied to national identity. These phrases give deeper meaning to how people in mainland Britain relate to their heritage and culture. We'll explain them along the way with examples, so stay tuned.
A sense of belonging. Explanation: feeling part of a group or community. Example: in Wales, the Welsh language and national anthem give people a strong sense of belonging, especially during big rugby matches. In passion and with pride. Explanation: doing something with strong emotion and a sense of pride. Example: Welsh rugby fans sing their national anthem in passion and with pride, making their love for their country clear. A long time ago. Explanation: referring to something in the distant past. Example: a long time ago, you'd often see the Union Jack in England, but today the George Cross is more commonly flown. Tick all the boxes. Explanation: fulfilling all requirements or expectations. Example: in the census, people in Scotland could tick all the boxes for national identity, but many chose only Scottish, not British. Extremely proud. Explanation: feeling a great sense of pride. Example: Welsh footballers said they were extremely proud to wear the dragon on their chest, showing just how important their national identity is to them.
That wraps up today's episode of English Daily Podcast. We hope this look at national identity in mainland Britain helped you understand the diverse ways people see themselves in the UK. Whether British, Scottish, Welsh, or English, each identity adds to the rich culture of the country. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe for more conversations about life, language, and culture. See you next time.
English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And today we're bringing you another great advanced lesson for all those advanced users out there.
That's right. This is a really, really useful lesson for all of our advanced users.
Exactly. You asked for a lesson about job interviews, and well, here we are. We're bringing you the first of 3 parts of the job interview series.
All right, so Marco, you said it is the first of 3 parts.
Right.
So tell me, what are these 3 parts?
Okay, in this lesson, we're going to be looking at preparing for a job interview.
Okay.
So everything you got to do before the job interview. Part 2 will be talking about your education, your background, your work experience.
Okay.
And in part 3, we'll take a look at some of the common questions that are asked at a job interview.
And so we'll talk about some great ways to answer these questions.
Exactly.
All right, these 3 lessons will be coming out over the next month or so.
Exactly. So we're going to be looking at part 1 today. So let's take a look at some vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
Well, we have 3 words here in vocabulary preview that you'll hear in the dialogue in a moment. And the first one is actually not really a word, but an acronym.
Right. CRM.
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 So, Marco, you are our marketing guy. Tell us, what is a CRM?
Well, it's really common in marketing. It stands for Customer Relationship Management.
Okay.
Or Customer Relation Management. But basically, it's the relationship that the company has with its customers.
Okay.
So CRM basically has parts like feedback or customer support, problems that they might have, and also information about habits and likes and dislikes from their customers or users.
Okay, but I commonly hear this word used as a noun. So something like, can you check in the CRM?
Right, there is some software out there that's called the CRM. So Sugar CRM or many different softwares, which basically manages your database of customers. Basically software that englobes this whole thing.
Okay, got it. All right, our next phrase in vocabulary preview, custom designed.
Custom designed.
Custom designed.
Custom designed.
So when something is custom designed,
it means it's a special design just for you.
So it's unique.
Right. That's what the word custom means.
Unique. Like made especially for one person.
Right. So you have custom designed or also custom made. You see that a lot, for example, in cars, right? A custom made car.
Yes. Or maybe a custom built house.
A custom built house.
Yep.
With your specific likes and dislikes.
Yeah, your
color.
requirements. Yep.
Okay, and our last word, core values.
Core values.
Core values.
Core values.
So the core values of a company. What does the core mean, actually?
The center.
The center, right?
Yep. So, and here I think it's like the center or the most important.
The most important things the company believes in, right?
Right. So maybe respect for the environment.
Okay. Or developing their employees. Okay. So the core values, the main things that the company believes in.
A great phrase for job interviews.
Oh, yes. Very good phrase. Okay. So why don't we listen to our dialogue? Erica, what exactly is happening?
All right. We're going to be listening to 2 friends. And this guy is getting ready to go on a job interview. So his friend is helping him to prepare.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go over everything one more time. I really want you to get this job.
I know, it's an amazing growth opportunity. They're true industry leaders, and it would be so interesting to be part of an organization that is the undisputed leader in business process platform development.
So, let's see. You did your research on the company, right?
Well, I visited the website and read up on what they do. They're an IT service company that offers comprehensive business solutions for large corporations. They provide services such as CRM development, and they also offer custom designed applications.
So, what would be your role in the company?
Well, the position is for an account manager. That basically means that I would be the link between our clients and our development team.
Sounds good. And so, why do you want to work with them?
Well, as I said, they're the industry leaders. They have a really great growth strategy, amazing development opportunities for employees, and it seems like they have a strong corporate governance. They're all about helping companies grow and unleashing potential. I guess their core values and mission really resonated with me. Oh, and they offer 6 weeks vacation, stock options, and bonuses. I'm totally going to cash in on that.
You idiot! You don't say that. Do you want this job or not?
All right, so he was doing great, but in the end he said something he shouldn't, right?
Yeah, I don't think talking about money as your primary motivation for coming onto a new company is really the way to go.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but let's take a look real quick at some language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
All right, in this lesson, we have 5 keywords for you from the dialogue, which we hope that you will remember.
Let's take a look at the first one. Undisputed.
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 So this is kind of a strange word. Let's listen to some examples before we explain it.
Example 1.
It's undisputed that she's the best person for the job.
Example 2.
The undisputed truth is that unemployment is rising. No one doubts that.
Example 3.
He's the undisputed champion of the world.
Well, I can understand from these examples that it means there is no doubt.
There is no doubt.
There's no question.
Okay, now let's take a look at our second word, growth opportunity.
Growth opportunity.
It's a great growth opportunity.
So it's an excellent chance to improve, right?
To improve professionally and also on a personal side, right?
Yeah. So talking about growth opportunities, we can also use the phrase a development opportunity.
And it's the same thing, right? To develop, to grow.
To improve yourself.
Okay. Now let's take a look at our third word. Read up.
Read up.
Read up.
Read up.
So when you read up on something.
Well, obviously you read it, right?
Right.
But you're reading it specifically for some information so you can know more about the subject.
So it's kind of similar to study, right?
Kind of, but really with the idea that you're trying to improve your knowledge about a particular field.
Okay. Now for our fourth word, unleash potential.
Unleash potential.
Unleash potential.
Unleash potential.
Okay, so to unleash.
All right. Well, I'm going to paint a picture for you.
All right.
So imagine you have your dog, right? And your dog is walking on a leash, like it has a string or a rope attached to it.
Right.
So then when you undo the leash, you unleash the dog, and then what happens?
It goes around and it's running. And...
Yeah, it's going everywhere. So if you unleash potential, you release it and let it go and help it
grow and become bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
So you give it freedom. So potential is the capabilities or abilities that a person has, right?
Yes.
To do something great. Okay. Unleash potential.
This, I think, is an excellent word to use in a job interview. I think it is really descriptive and really powerful.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it's a good word. Okay, so let's take a look at our last one now. Resonate with.
Resonate with.
Resonate with.
Resonate with.
So he mentioned this really resonated with me. So what does he mean by resonated?
I guess he means it connected to him, right? It touched him.
So he agrees with this idea, or he feels that he can relate to it.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? I think this one needs a few examples to really show its meaning.
Okay, let's listen.
Example 1.
The candidate's speech really resonated with the voters.
Example 2.
Their music doesn't really resonate with me.
Example 3.
Their commitment to fight global warming resonates with me.
All right, so it's clear now to resonate with, right? Okay, so why don't we go and listen to our dialogue for the last time, and then we'll come back and give you some great pointers about preparing for a job interview.
Okay, so let's go over everything one more time. I really want you to get this job.
I know, it's an amazing growth opportunity. They're true industry leaders, and it would be so interesting to be part of an organization that is the undisputed leader in business process platform development.
So let's see. You did your research on the company, right?
Well, I visited the website and read up on what they do. They're an IT service company that offers comprehensive business solutions for large corporations. They provide services such as CRM development, and they also offer custom designed applications.
So what would be your role in the company?
Well, the position is for an account manager. That basically means that I would be the link between our clients and our development team.
Sounds good. And so, why do you want to work with them?
Well, as I said, they're the industry leaders. They have a really great growth strategy, amazing development opportunities for employees, and it seems like they have a strong corporate governance. They're all about helping companies grow and unleashing potential. I guess their core values and mission really resonated with me. Oh, and they offer 6 weeks vacation, stock options, and bonuses. I'm totally going to cash in on that.
You idiot! You don't say that. Do you want this job or not?
Okay, so preparing for a job interview is really important, right?
Yes. Yep.
And we're going to give you some really basic tips about how you can prepare for a job interview.
Yeah, I gotta confess something to you, Marco.
What?
I love job interviews.
Really?
Yeah, I know it's really weird. Most people hate them, but I love them.
So you love being the interviewer or going to job interviews?
Both.
Really?
Yeah, I like everything about them. So I feel like I have a lot of passion to share with you about this.
All right, so let's take a look at the first point or the first tip that you can help us out with. So before you go to a job interview, you should do a little bit of research, right?
Right, and that's our first point. It's really important to know as much as you can about the company, their history, their product, their management style, just as much information as you can find out about how they work and what they do.
And why do you think this is important?
Well, basically, you'll be asked about it in the interview.
Right.
And so if you show that you haven't prepared, you haven't done any research, you show that you don't care.
One of the best ways that you can impress in a job interview is to show that you know about the company, that important things like you know what kind of products they offer or what's their largest market.
Yep.
And I guess that really impresses the interviewer because
Yeah.
it shows that you are interested in this company and they really want the job.
And that you are willing to do the extra work it takes to prepare yourself. Because I think that will show the interviewer that later on, when you're working for them, you'll do that extra work on the job.
Exactly. That's a really good point. So that's our first point, our first tip, to do some research.
Yes.
Now, you've done your research, you know everything about the company. What else should you do?
Once you've read up on the company, you've got to spend some time thinking about yourself. You've got to prepare to sell yourself to the company.
Okay. So to sell yourself, to really demonstrate them why you are the perfect person for the job.
Right, because a lot of people think about why they want to work for the company, right? Because they feel like they're aligned with the core values or the message of the company resonates with them. But what the interviewer really wants to hear is how you, the interviewee, is going to benefit the company. What are you going to bring to the company?
Right, and this is the most important part, is to know what are your skills, right?
Yes.
And it's not enough to just say, well, I am a great leader.
Yep.
Right? So if you are a great leader, you should be ready to give an example of how you have demonstrated to be a great leader, right?
Yes. All right, so maybe like an example, like I'm a really strong leader because in my previous job, I had the best JD Power ratings for employee satisfaction.
Okay, so you're actually showing with numbers or
Yes.
with facts that you are a great leader.
Yeah, so the key thing here, I think, is identify what your strengths and skills are. Think of specific examples. If you can, give numbers and show how you can bring this skill and your experiences to the new company.
And now, well, you're ready to sell yourself. You've done your research. Now, you have all of these things in your mind. You have to practice.
Yes.
Right?
A much overlooked stage in the preparation.
Yeah, a lot of people think it through. They write things down, but don't really practice.
Yeah. So I know you have a few tips about how you can practice interviewing effectively.
Okay, well, the first thing that you should do is use your friends.
Yeah.
Right?
They gotta be good for something.
Exactly. And, well, probably your friends are also working at a company.
Yeah.
Maybe they're managers, or maybe they've interviewed someone before already. So you can set up a mini interview and have them pretend that they are the interviewer and ask you these questions, and you're trying to answer seriously. And I'm sure that your friends can give you some great feedback. Maybe what you did right, maybe what you did wrong. So that's a really good way. And another thing is also you can record yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. If you have a video camera or even a many people have a webcam like right in your laptop. Record yourself actually doing the practice interview with your friend.
And this is really useful because you can later see what you recorded and detect some of the things that maybe aren't really useful or good. For example, posture is a really important aspect.
So what do you mean posture?
So the way that you are sitting down in your seat.
Yep.
And how you are expressing yourself with your hands.
Yep.
Some people, they move a lot during the interview because, of course, you're nervous. So maybe they're moving from side to side or playing with their feet or playing with something on the table or moving their hands in an awkward way. So those are the things that you have to watch out for.
Yes. So I guess it's really important to sit up straight and to show that you are powerful and in control.
And another really great thing is eye contact, right?
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier.
And why is eye contact so important?
If an interviewee maintains eye contact with me for like most of the interview, I feel like they have really good people skills.
In my opinion, I would say they have a lot of self-confidence.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Right?
Yep.
Because if a person is looking down or not looking directly at you, it's either one of two things, in my opinion. It's either they are not confident enough with themselves or they are lying to you.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Or also they don't have good people skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a problem in today's sort of knowledge-based economy.
Exactly. So it's really important to maintain eye contact. And one other really important thing related to eye contact posture is the handshake. When you get to the interview, it's really, really important to give a firm, good handshake.
So what qualifies as a firm, good handshake?
Well, you don't have to prove that you are ultra strong, right? So you don't have to squeeze the other person's hand really hard.
And like break their hand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not like a strength contest.
No.
A good firm handshake is squeezing normally, not too tight, not too loose.
Yeah.
But your entire palm, your entire hand has to be in contact with the other person's palm or hand.
Yes.
Don't give them the fingers, some people give you only 4 fingers or half their hand.
Yeah, I hate that.
I hate it too. And this goes for men and for women because a lot of women do this.
Yep. I call this the dead fish handshake.
The dead fish. It is kind of like a dead fish or the dead hand handshake.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you on this one. So, nice firm handshake.
Yeah. Firm handshake. And, well, these are our tips for preparing for the interview, everything you have to do before it. I'm sure there are a lot more things out there. And I'm sure our users have some insight on this as well.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it because like I told you, I love job interviews.
Yeah, so come to our website at englishpod.com. Leave us your comments. Maybe you've had a good experience with a job interview or maybe a bad one. Or maybe even as an interviewer, you've interviewed some really interesting people.
And you got some great tips to share with us.
Exactly. So come to our website, leave your questions, leave your comments, share your experiences with our other users. And Erica and I will also be there to participate in the discussion.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. And until next time.
English learners, welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And today with Erica, we're bringing you a great lesson about time.
You need more of it.
We need more time, right? So we're going to be teaching you how you can ask for more time.
If you're working on a project at work and you can't finish it on time, you have to ask your boss for more time.
Right. So today in our dialogue, Casey needs more time to put together a press kit.
What's a press kit?
Good question. A press kit is something the marketing department will put together. Basically pictures, logos, information about the company. So when a newspaper or a magazine wants to write an article about them, so they have something already prepared that they could give the newspaper or magazine.
Okay.
So let's listen to our dialogue for the first time. And as always, it's going to be at a normal speed, so it might be a little bit difficult to understand.
We'll come back in 1 minute and tell you about some of the key language.
So, Casey, how are things going with the photos for the press kit?
Yeah, I've been meaning to talk to you about that. I might need to ask for an extension on that deadline.
You've had over a month to get this finalized. Why are things delayed?
Well, the thing is, we ran into a lot of problems.
I'm not looking for excuses here. I just want to get this finished on time.
I know, and I apologize for the delay. But some things were just beyond my control. I had trouble booking the photographer, and then Michael was sick for 3 weeks, so I couldn't include him in the photos. And the design team lost all the files, so I had to redo the pictures.
I'm not going to put this off any longer, Casey. I want those photos ASAP.
All right, so Casey is in trouble, I think.
Yeah, I think her boss is pretty upset.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at some of the language that we saw in this dialogue in Language Takeaway.
Language takeaway.
First word today is deadline.
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 So, Erica, what's a deadline?
It is the last possible date to do something.
So, for example, when we were in school, our teacher would send us homework and say it was for Friday.
So the deadline was Friday.
Was Friday, right? Or when you're at work, you have projects that you have to finish by a certain date. That's your deadline.
Exactly.
Okay, let's look at our next word. Extension.
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 So extension and deadline go together, right?
Exactly. If you can't reach your deadline or you can't make your deadline, you must ask for an extension.
An extension. So you ask for more time.
Yeah, an extension is moving the deadline in the future.
All right, interesting. Let's look at our next word. Ran into.
Ran into.
Ran into.
Ran into some problems.
So we ran into some problems in this dialogue. Let's listen to some more examples of run into so we can understand the meaning.
Example 1.
We ran into a storm on our way home.
Example 2. If you're not careful now, you're going to run into a lot of problems later. Example 3.
I ran into some trouble with my computer.
Okay, good example. So it's clear now, right?
Right. If you run into problems, you meet some problems.
Right. Many students say it in that way. I met some problems.
Yeah, but that's wrong.
Right. So you would say I ran into some problems.
Right. I met some problems is wrong, wrong, wrong.
Okay, don't say met some problems.
I ran into some problems.
I ran into. Okay. And our last word for language takeaway, delayed.
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 So when something is delayed, it's
late.
Late.
And the opposite is
on time.
Yeah. So your flight was delayed.
Or your flight was on time.
The project was delayed.
Or your project was on time.
Clear.
All right. So now let's go back to the dialogue. Let's listen to it again.
And this time it will be a little bit slower so you can understand some of these phrases we just talked about.
So, Casey, how are things going with the photos for the press kit?
Yeah, I've been meaning to talk to you about that. I might need to ask for an extension on that deadline.
You've had over a month to get this finalized. Why are things delayed?
Well, the thing is, we ran into a lot of problems.
I'm not looking for excuses here. I just want to get this finished on time.
I know, and I apologize for the delay. But some things were just beyond my control. I had trouble booking the photographer. And then Michael was sick for 3 weeks, so I couldn't include him in the photos. And the design team lost all the files, so I had to redo the pictures.
I'm not going to put this off any longer, Casey. I want those photos ASAP.
Okay, so there were some really useful phrases that we saw in this dialogue.
Yeah, some wonderful phrases that you can use when you want to ask for more time.
Okay, so let's look at these phrases in Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
All right, what's our first phrase?
I've been meaning to talk to you.
I've been meaning to.
I've been meaning to.
Okay, we have some really great examples of how you can combine I've been meaning to with different verbs.
Yeah, let's listen.
Example 1.
I'm sorry I haven't called you yet. I've been meaning to, but I've been busy.
Example 2. I've been meaning to tell you, but John quit yesterday. Example 3.
I've been meaning to see that film for a while.
I've been meaning to go to that restaurant, but I haven't had time.
So you've been wanting to for a long time.
Right. I've been thinking about it. I've been planning to do it.
But you just haven't done it.
I haven't done it. Maybe because I haven't had time or money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good phrase.
Our next phrase is beyond my control.
Beyond my control.
It's beyond my control.
So it means that I can't control it.
You can't do anything about it.
Can't do anything about it. The weather is beyond my control.
Right. Or relate with this project because Jane was sick for 1 month. It was beyond my control.
Okay. It wasn't your fault.
No.
Okay. And our last phrase for Fluency Builder, put this off.
Put this off.
Put this off.
Put this off.
So let's listen to some more examples of put this off before we explain the meaning.
Example 1.
I've been putting off this project for a week, and it's due tomorrow.
Example 2. Can we put off our meeting till next week? I'm too busy right now. Example 3.
I've been putting off my email all day, and now I have 50 messages to respond to.
So, Marco, when you put something off, you
leave it for later.
Okay.
Right? So maybe I have to write a report today, but I'm going to put it off till tomorrow.
So you're going to do it tomorrow.
I'll do it tomorrow. Okay, so we've seen some really great words and some really good phrases. So now let's listen to our dialogue for the last time, and then we'll come back and talk some more.
So, Casey, how are things going with the photos for the press kit?
Yeah, I've been meaning to talk to you about that. I might need to ask for an extension on that deadline.
You've had over a month to get this finalized. Why are things delayed?
Well, the thing is, we ran into a lot of problems.
I'm not looking for excuses here. I just want to get this finished on time.
I know, and I apologize for the delay, but some things were just beyond my control. I had trouble booking the photographer, and then Michael was sick for 3 weeks, so I couldn't include him in the photos. And the design team lost all the files, so I had to redo the pictures.
I'm not going to put this off any longer, Casey. I want those photos ASAP.
Well, Marco, do you think that Casey's reasons for being late are good?
I think so, because it wasn't really her fault, the whole situation with the photographer. And then one of her co-workers was sick for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's not really her fault, right?
Right, but maybe the boss thinks that she's making excuses.
Yeah, maybe she's making excuses. That's really common. Like, for example, when we were kids, you would say, oh, you know, my dog ate my homework.
Right, but that really happened to me once.
Your dog ate your homework?
My cat ate my homework.
Your cat ate your homework?
Yeah.
And what did your teacher say?
Well, actually, I was a really good student, so my teacher believed me.
Well, my teacher wouldn't have believed me.
Really?
No, she would have called my parents, most likely.
Yeah. Well, my cat really did eat my homework, and I just left it on the table, and it chewed it all up.
That's weird. Why would your cat do that?
I don't know.
A lot of weird excuses out there.
Yeah.
I was abducted by aliens.
Uh-huh.
My mom accidentally mailed my homework to Africa.
Really?
Yeah.
This happened to you?
Creative writing.
Okay.
Creative excuses.
Well, I want to hear from our listeners. I want to know what excuses they've used for being late with something.
So send us your excuses, send us your comments and questions. Go to our website at englishpod.com, where Eric and I are always there to answer your questions.
That's right, Marco. And this is an elementary lesson, right?
Exactly.
But we also have intermediate and upper intermediate and advanced lessons for you more fluent English speakers.
Exactly. So if you're listening to us on iTunes, be sure to visit our website and come see what else we have to offer.
Well, I think we're out of time, but until next time, it's goodbye.